Hi, everybody. It's Mrs. Davis. I'm here to do our daily reflection, and we're almost done with this book. We've been doing daily reflections from a book called A Grateful Heart Unwrapping Life's Gifts by Sandra Schuck Garant, and we are almost done. We have two left. Today's reflection is called Suffering. The gift of suffering has purposely been left as next to last. Sometimes I understand it, sometimes I don't. Suffering that seems meaningful is easier to bear, while senseless suffering seems evidence against a good God, except that God has embraced it himself. Without the incarnation, passion, crucifixion, and resurrection, I seriously doubt I could believe in a good God. Suffering is more real, even when it's not happening to me, than the power of the sea, the warmth of the sun, or the vastness of the night sky. When we are suffering, the natural order of our lives seems suspended. Time, freedom, people, peace, courage, and money seem impossibly worthless. We can only suffer, and it seems we'll go on suffering forever. Suffering without reason feels like eternity. We tell ourselves it will soon pass, but we don't believe our own lie. Then, perhaps it does pass, but we can't escape the vivid memories of our anguish. They may not attack us immediately, but bide their time, waiting to ambush us somewhere down the road. I often argue with God about what I consider needless suffering. I tell him he's really lost his sense of reality. You must be crazy. Do you know what you're doing? How could you do this? I'm never going to talk to you again. We're finished. Childish, but at least I get personal, and I'm giving him some credit for control over the situation. On one occasion, he answered me with a question, "When are you going to trust me?" I didn't want that answer, but what would I have thought if he had said, "You're right, I really don't know what I'm doing. Maybe I need to see a psychiatrist." He was politely reminding me that I don't know the whole truth, and that yes, he still had everything under control. Anyway, it ended the argument. When I don't understand the purpose behind a particular pain in our lives, the suffering grates on us more. It's harder to acknowledge God as the supreme good. We say, "I don't know what you want from me, but I'll wait for you." In suffering, as in no other condition in life, we can step back and let God steer us where he pleases. It is almost like stopping for a hitchhiker and giving him the driver's seat. We often have no idea what will happen next. If we continually try to avoid suffering, we'll miss a great deal in life. We'll miss the chance to make a commitment looking up from the depths of disillusionment. We'll miss the relief and freedom of having hung on till the end. We'll dodge self-discovery. We won't be able to empathize with others. We won't even begin to understand what love is as lived by our own God. That alone is worth the cost. We can either accept suffering as a part of life and appreciate it as a time of God confidence and growth, or we can withdraw from it and demand a lifetime of convenient ease. No bumps, no bruises, and no intimate connections either. On the other hand, if we turn everything real or imagined into suffering, we'll become fools. We will wallow in pretend gutters and cry staged tears. We'll trap ourselves in condemning others. We'll manipulate and disgust others as if the universe revolved around us. Even God allows us freedom and responsibility. When we attempt to become God, we are not so gracious. I know I'm guilty of such foolishness when I find myself blaming everyone but myself. When I absolutely assert that I've done no wrong, I'm probably being very foolish. When I begin to tell others their hidden intentions and purposes, then I've proved myself a fool. Martyrs do not bleed ketchup, and it takes only a little self-examination to see if I have a cut or a smear of ketchup. To walk a straight line between avoiding suffering and wallowing in it takes balance. Suffering often intrudes into our lives, but it isn't all of life. True maturity calls for accepting suffering for what it is, no less and no more. Our lives may contain more or less suffering as compared to others, but making comparisons doesn't help.